you ever heard someone say, "One night, I was taken up into the sky. A light surrounded me and pulled me into a place I can't explain. Time moved differently there. Then I returned." What would you think? That they were lying? That they'd lost their mind? Now imagine hearing this not in a modern sci-fi movie, but in a handwritten official record from the Ottoman Empire. The story I'm about to share is a real historical case. It was recorded by an Ottoman judge, known as a Qadi, centuries ago. The document reports a man from a small village who disappeared one night, taken by a light from the sky, witnessed by the villagers. And then, he returned months later. Strange? It's only the beginning. This incident happened in the late 17th century, in a rural part of the Ottoman Empire. A local Qadi documented it in the official court records. The man had vanished without a trace. What makes it more mysterious is that villagers claimed they saw him rise into the sky, surrounded by a strange glow. One witness described it as a light from above, bright as daylight. Another said he was lifted from the ground, like something invisible carried him. The Qadi didn't make any judgment. He just wrote everything down, word for word, from the villagers' testimonies. 3 months passed. One early morning, the man reappeared at the entrance of the village. He looked exhausted and disoriented, his clothes torn. At first, he didn't speak at all. Days later, he began to describe what had happened. He said, "I was walking back from the field when a light came down from the sky. I couldn't move. My feet left the ground. Something like wind or power carried me upwards. I couldn't scream. Everything turned white." He woke up in a place he couldn't describe. It wasn't heaven or hell. It wasn't earth either. There was no sun, no night. Only a soft brightness, he said. There were sounds, like whispers. But I didn't understand the language. The walls weren't like stone or wood. They were smooth, glowing. I was awake, but it felt like I had no body. He didn't know how long he stayed there. There was no time, he said. I was being tested, but I don't know by whom. When he finally returned to the village, the people were shocked, not just because he was alive, but because he knew things that no one had told him. He described new tools, strange vehicles that floated without touching the ground, and metal that was cold but alive. These were things completely unfamiliar in the 1600s, and again, the Qadi recorded it all. He even wrote, "The man claims he was taken to a non-human place, and this was accepted as a real experience by the villagers." This is what makes the story remarkable. The people believed him. They had seen the light in the sky. Some even said they saw the man disappear with their own eyes. Livestock had run off in panic that night. The dogs barked at the sky, and then we ask, does this story remind you of anything? Think about it. A light descending from the sky. A person lifted upward. Loss of control over the body. Awakening in a strange room. Contact with unknown beings. Time working differently. Returning confused. Forever changed. It matches almost perfectly with modern alien abduction stories. But this happened more than 400 years ago. Back then, people didn't have movies or science fiction. They barely had the concept of flight. Yet this man's description fits the patterns we hear today, almost word for word. So what was it? A mental breakdown, a vivid dream, sleep paralysis, a religious experience? Well, it's complicated. Some believe he had a spiritual encounter, a kind of divine test, like a personal version of the Ascension story where a chosen one is lifted to the skies. Others see it as a case of early psychological trauma, a break from reality. But the villagers' reactions challenged that. They all agreed on what they saw. A strange light, the man floating upward, the air itself glowing. They weren't frightened. They were amazed. Could it have been mass hallucination? Possibly. But the consistency of the reports makes it hard to ignore. And then there's what the man said about the place he was taken. He didn't call it paradise. He didn't describe angels or demons. He didn't see a god. He spoke of a silent space filled with moving light and shapes. He heard sounds but didn't understand them. He saw creatures he couldn't describe. If someone told you this today, you might think of alien contact. But remember, this happened centuries before the first UFO sighting was ever reported. So what do you think? Was this a spiritual journey? An early record of an alien abduction? Or just a misunderstood personal crisis written into history? Let us know in the comments. If you want to hear more strange, forgotten stories from history, real ones that sound like legends, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. There's still so much waiting in the old books. Ouija.